Hey folks, it's Isaac. In this video, we are going to be making our tote bag kit. I already changed. As always, you're going to need your DIYer's toolkit, and at the very least, scissors, thread snips, and a lighter. This kit comes with two items. First, your laser cut piece of fabric, and second, 100 inches of webbing. The first step is to create a rolled hem. This can be done by two simple folds sewn down to hide the raw edge. We recommend doing this rolled hem by marking 5/8 of an inch from the top of your fabric, and then you're going to fold at that line. Once you have that first fold, just go ahead and fold it one more time. A pro tip here, if you have wonder clips or some kind of clip, you can just go ahead and clip this down so that it's much easier to sew once you get to your machine. To finish this rolled hem, you're just going to run a straight stitch along the left side of this rolled hem. Next, you're just going to repeat all these steps on the other side. Placing the handles requires a few key measurements. First, you're going to fold your pattern piece in half and find your center line. You're going to want to make a hard crease on that center line. From the cutout, you're going to measure 4 3/4 inches in towards the center and make a mark. Make sure this is small so that you can't see it once you've sewn down your webbing. Now, from the top edge, you're going to measure in 8 inches. You're going to repeat these two marks on the other side. Next, you're going to take your webbing and find the center point. Fold it in half, and then find where it folds, and you're going to cut this spot. This will give you 50 inches of webbing. Make sure to burn your edges. You're going to take that webbing and line it up with the mark that you've already made, and line up the inside edge of the webbing with that mark. Once you have lined up your webbing, you're going to go back to your sewing machine and tack that down. Once you've got that tacked down, you're just going to run that webbing up to the top mark that you made on your rolled hem. You're going to line up that inside edge once more and tack that down again. Next, you're just going to do those same steps on the other side of your webbing. So you're going to line up that inside edge of your webbing on both the bottom mark and the top mark, and just make sure that you don't have any twists in your webbing before you sew that down. One thing to make sure of is that you don't pull your webbing too tight before you sew it down, because you don't want any folds in your fabric. You want it to lay nice and flat before you stitch that down. To finish off your straps, you're just going to run 2 rows of stitching close to the edge on both of these pieces of webbing. Okay, now that you've finished this side of the webbing, you're going to just repeat the same steps on the other side, but just make sure that when you put your webbing on, you're going to butt those pieces of webbing up against each other. Now that your webbing is sewn down, the next thing that you're going to do is fold your pattern piece in half so that the right sides are together. And you're going to line up this outside edge so that both those corners line up. This is a great place to use your clips once again. Once those are clipped in place, you're going to sew down a straight stitch using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now that this stitch is done, we are going to flip it over to the other side and do the same straight stitch along the other end. Don't forget your back stitch. Now that you've got your side seam sewn, we're going to move on to the box bottom. Now we've laser cut this piece to make it super easy. Now to make your box bottom, you're just going to simply pinch the two corners of the cutout and pull them flat so that your seam is perpendicular to the side seam. Now, once you have this pulled out, you're just going to clip this and then run a straight stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, now the last part of the project is to do your finishing touches. I like to use my thread snips and just trim up some of these loose threads. Make sure that looks all nice and tidy. You can also use a lighter to melt your threads, but make sure you don't get so close to the fabric that you melt it. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and turn out your project. And there it is. Your finished tote bag. Keep in mind that this is just the beginning for what this tote can be. You can always finish your rodges on the inside by binding or taping, or if you want to get really fancy, you can add an inside pocket or key ring, whatever you want to do with this tote bag, just make it yours and it'll be awesome. If you want to learn more sewing skills, check out our other videos. And if you want to see all of our kits, go check out our website. Thanks for watching.